One, two, three, four, five, six. Welcome to Awkwardly Awesome Podcast, episode 80. And that banner's not supposed to be there. Today I have a truly amazing guest. I'll read you her bio in a minute, but just so you're thinking, you know how life comes with immense challenges. We can either be miserable through those challenges or find joy in those challenges. And my guest has chosen to find joy and help other people find joy. So without further ado, let's do the thing. Yay!
Today's guest, Tiffany Caudill.
Tiffany Caudill is a joyologist. She loves inviting people to experience joy through laughter and connectedness. After a 20-year career as a child development teacher, she became a yoga instructor and breathwork expert. Today she stands in her joy, radiating like a candle to bring light to others and empower them to find the inner child. She helps people flip the script of being stressed out so they can enjoy all the desserts life has to offer. So with that, please help me welcome Tiffany Caudill. Hey, Tiffany, so good to see you.
Hi, Jason. I'm so glad to pull over, take a left in Albuquerque. Here we are.
So you're on a bit of a tour. Will you tell us a little bit about the tour you're presently on?
A little bit of this humongous project we got going on. And I say we because I'm being spiritually led here. There's no end destination to this one. But in my ultimate vision as I step into it, I'm creating a documentary of how people have used laughter to transform the pain in their life. And I've done a Southern California tour. I've gone up to Ontario, Canada, and now I'm on a Southwest tour where I've gone down through San Diego and Arizona, and today I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico, on my way to Santa Fe to meet a friend there. And then I turn around and get back up to Sacramento, California. So this tour, this document is the wholeness tour, the wealth, health of laughter everywhere. Because in this primal need of mental wellness, we need to find the modalities that work. And laughter is one of them. So I interview people who use laughter to help with their cancer, and the stress that goes along with walking with death every day, with people with PTS, and PTS for many types of different trauma, not just war trauma, but we're talking sexual trauma, genocide trauma, and we'll talk about Rwanda for a minute. Also the stresses of depression and suicidal tendencies. So as I go through these interviews with other people, they share with me how they've gone through the marriage of laughter. There's a pre-laughter and a post-laughter life. And these people use laughter in their lives, not just through comedy, but as an exercise, as laughter yoga exercises. So they're laughing for no reason, but just the health benefit of it, to flip the script from being stressed out for whatever reasons. They share that with people, and people come back to them with amazing stories of how it's curved their stress and depression, curved suicidal tendencies, and helped with the walk of cancer and surviving cancer. So there's these beautiful stories, and I want to immortalize them and put them into a document where doctors, therapists, clinicians, educators, teachers can use them to show their students and their
Mm.
clients that there's something to laughter. There's something that really, really works. And so that's what I'm stepping into.
Wow. So many questions.
Yeah, I know.
So often, I mean, we think of laughter as something extra, like watching the late night talk shows and laughing a little bit, or laughing at a random joke here or that. The way you're talking about laughter is in a you're talking about using it in a whole different way. How are you talking about using laughter?
Yeah. So laughter in itself, we're born with two ways to communicate. We laugh and we cry. And we use those those two behaviors to survive, to get attention, and to move forward. Many people, especially in our American society, view laughter as comedy. Something has to be funny,
Hmm.
or funny at someone else's expense, like you look funny, or you talk funny, or you sound funny, or you fell down, or there's these mirror neurons in our brain that see something happening, and we kind of go, "Oh, glad that wasn't me," right? And so stuff on TV, and certain predicaments with we think is funny, and we use that. We do. But there's another piece to it. When the jokes run out, or when they don't become quite right, and they don't make everybody else feel good or
What
included, there's
what
something wrong
happens
with it.
sometimes?
Yeah, it gets a little bit inappropriate. There is a way to make laughter more appropriate. Some people call it laughter yoga, and there's many other different ways. But laughter yoga is not leaving the comedy to chance, or chance that something could be funny to laugh at. It's more about laughing for no reason, and that gets really, it's oh, I feel dumb. I feel weird. I have nothing to laugh about. I feel kind of bonkers and kooky.
So
But
do laughter yoga people just stand around, just as the leader say laugh, and then the laughter yoga
sometimes,
people have to laugh for an hour
well,
straight?
they don't have to, because it's all by choice, right? So you don't have to do anything. You don't feel like laughing, you don't laugh. But there is a thing called laughter meditation. Now, this also comes along with movement and being in your body. There might be other people around you, so you're hearing the laughter. And so it sometimes becomes very contagious once you kind of get into it. But we do practices as well that warm up that part of the brain that the inner child lives in, and we open up the joy in our heart by bringing vibration into the body, whether it be through faking it till you make it, or actually being into the practice to where you can just start laughing. At first, it was very hard for me to do, and we could talk about that. But there is laughter meditation where you just start laughing, you just like that. With laughter yoga, we do little games, or a theme, like we're going to Hawaii and the sand is hot, and we go ha 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 ha, and pretend that we're on hot sand. You can laugh at anything, because it's a language. It's a I can laugh driving, I can laugh reading the paper, I can laugh at anything, because it's just that vibration, and it's breath work. You are giving something to your body that resonates as joy. And who doesn't want to do that?
So for people who haven't experienced laughter yoga, what's an example of a traditional laughter yoga exercise?
Yeah.
Will
So,
you lead me through one and I'll laugh?
sure. So first, and then I'll ask you a question. The first basic routine is getting, with a laughter yoga session, is getting the mantra. So the mantra is taking the hands and they're open palmed and you're clapping them, crossing your midline. So that's just practicing getting the brain to pay attention. We also have meridians in our hands that are connected to the whole body. And we do the 2 mantra sounds. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. 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 We circulate through that and we just get the warm up going. And then if you're doing thematics, like going to Hawaii, or if you really are working one-to-one, like you and I would ask you a couple questions, such as, what do you enjoy doing? What already brings joy in your body, Jason?
So I love walking around so much and taking photos of things I find beautiful.
Okay, so do you use a traditional camera or a phone?
A phone.
A phone. So what's really fun about the phone is that we can look at pictures together. As we engage in the inner child of the mind, we're using our perceptions through imagination. And the subconscious doesn't know any different, does it? It is actually living that moment. So begin to look at your phone and you go, oh,
Oh. And as we do this, I urge you who are listening to try this too.
Yeah, this is phone picture laughter, and we encourage each other not to talk because we're going into the analytical brain. We want to stay out of there. So when we do exercises, we don't talk. We just say ho ho ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Oh oh oh
Oh.
oh oh. And then after the activity, we go back to mantra. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. 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 Very good, very good. And I know you like to say yes. Very good, very good. Yes.
Oh, very good, very good. Yay!
So you're in a constant celebration of these, just being in your mind of what brought you happiness. And when you did that, how did you feel?
Yeah, like instantly, I do feel better.
Little bit better. And we got to get away from the subjective mind, right? That's the hardest part of the practice. It's just getting out of the subjective mind of this is weird and this is dumb and I don't feel right. Nothing's funny. Try to practice 5 minutes a day, sweeping over to the side that just wants to enjoy a happy picture on your phone. Pretty soon after that, the laughs, they just come. They just come, and it really flips the script of being stressed out to having desserts too. That's a baconym. Did you know that? A baconym is a word that you can spell one way, flip it around, and it spells a different word. So if you take the word stressed and the word out, you flip them, it says desserts too.
Oh, I didn't get that. I did not get that way. I have to say I didn't get that in your bio. That's awesome. So Mikey says, "Hi, beautiful people. Yes, raise your vibration and let go of fear by laughing."
Yes. Fear of laughing comes with astigmatism because for one, like we said, there's lack of something being funny to give us a reason to laugh. And then in our society, we've been projected and conditioned that people who laugh for no reason are not clinically sane. So there's some stigmatisms to laughing. Also, laughter yoga comes from India. So we are in a completely different culture where coming from a place 27 years ago, the story of laughter yoga with Dr. Madan Kataria, he had a group of 5 people in the park and he wanted to test to see how laughter works and how it makes people feel. And they were at the time using jokes and things that were funny, but after a while it got kind of,
Mhm.
racist or uncomfortable. People weren't happy. And so he says, well, let's do it for no reason. Let's just give our body a fake laughter. And if you practice that, especially with a group of people that want to practice that too, and you feel safe, it just comes. And before you know it, you're in laughter meditation and you're rolling around. You're just laughing and it feels so good.
My geese says joy is the currency of the master.
Yeah. This way, right? I heard that when you do this, it means that there's money in your hands and you're listening to it and you feel
Uh,
champion. For laughter.
so it's easy in this conversation. All right, I'm back up. And then Maggie says,
Hey, Mikey, thank you.
so you are using this amazingly simple and fun technology of laughter to address some problems that are really
Yes.
vexing all of us. So let's start with what first brought you to laughter yoga.
Thank you. Everybody has a laughter story. Whether you're just a naturally happy person or you've experienced some serious trauma and
Mm,
use laughter to help you
mm,
modify the pain.
mm,
In my personal story, I was a very quiet child, silenced child, and I
mm,
had a lot of familial uh, alcoholism in the family.
mm,
So there was trauma that way.
mm,
Life wasn't just happy and easy. It just was just full of dumb problems. And but as I grew up, I did become a teacher. I did become a preschool teacher, and but I was an early mom too. So I had a child at 17, and he was my why to start working with other children. And we lived laughter. My curriculum was an element of investigating how healthy is this child by how happy they are, right? And we danced and we sang and we made Play-Doh and we painted, and it just, the rhythm of life was just about being happy. But
mm,
of course,
mm,
you're not happy all the time because that's not how life is. We have
mm,
trauma, we have
mm,
addiction, we have
mm,
stress. And
mm.
so laughter was just part of the common organized chaos of my life. I would have 24 4-year-olds every day for 20 years. It was
How many? You said five?
24 preschool teachers or preschool children. I was a teacher for them. And my first son,
24 kids? That's amazing.
yes, 20, and it was great. And my first child that I had early, he was my reason why. He was my first experience with a child. I've never had any baby experience in my life before. So children became a safe place for me. It was a fun place. It was a place where drama wasn't all the big alcohol stuff that I grew up with,
Mm,
with
mm,
with abuse and all the stupid stuff. So
mm,
children were just a beautiful space, and I have 3 boys of my own. So in my early until I was 25, I had 3 boys, and then I have a stepdaughter that came with the package at a very little age, youngest age, and then I have an adopted son who we fostered as he grew. So I raised 5 kids, And I also,
Congratulations.
yeah, and I
Very
have
good,
4
very good.
grandchildren.
Yay.
Yay! So there's children in my life, and they kept me safe from the dumb adult life. But dumb adult life still happened. When my youngest grew up, he's now 23 years old. My mother-in-law, who I knew for 30 years, moved in with us 7 years ago. So I was kind of done raising my kids. I was going to, graduate that youngest one. But grandma was on her way with dementia, and she became that child.
So you were like, "Yay! I'm going to be an empty nester," and you did all this stuff. Yay!
Bye, kids.
Hi, kids. But then it was, "Hi, Grandma."
Hi, Grandma. Grandma had some serious dementia problems. I didn't know anything about it. We just kind of went with the program, and she got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So for 7 years, I became her caretaker. But in 2019, I lost my job. Pre-COVID, I lost my job. And I was stuck home caring for her because it was what was best for her. She was very poor and couldn't afford to be in a facility. We couldn't afford to buy her a facility. And I said, well, I'll be your caretaker because I lost my job. I'm home. So I'll care for you until I find a job. But I didn't. And so 3 years ago, I became her full-time caretaker. And in that decline, there was no more organized chaos. There was no more laughing and singing. There was living in constant trauma and pain of the past. Because with dementia, the old memories are the new memories. And she was a World War II survivor. So she was back in the war. And she didn't know me anymore. She didn't know her son anymore. She thought there was a war. If I went outside to water the yard, she'd be banging on the window saying, help, help, get me out of here, help. She was in a constant state of traumatic memory.
And there was no way to help her, to help
we
you
had to
leave
find ways. But medication helps, lower the anxiety and stuff like that. But her truth was her only memory, and the memory was something that happened 60 years ago.
Wow.
So she lived that, and I had to validate that because it didn't matter what I said. I can say the sky is blue. She says, no, it's purple. And so it's purple to her because that's her truth. And so we learned a lot. And so in connection to laughter yoga and how it helped, here I was going from organized chaos of using laughter as a way to estimate happiness in a child's development to no laughter or nothing. There's nothing. There's just disease and decline of the mind, to the point to where she thought I was poisoning her. She thought I was going to kill her. She thought her son was going to rape her. She just, all that trauma that we knew was incorrect was correct for her. And that's what she lived with every day, every 20 minutes. Because she would forget, be in a moment for a second, right back into it. And that went on for years and years and years. So let me backtrack a little bit. Before I became a preschool teacher, I was a yoga teacher. And during my trainings, we learned about all different types of yoga, and laughter was one of them. But I never went into the practice of it. I just went into the hatha pranayama.
Yeah.
And so hasya yoga is laughter yoga. When I was home with her, I was drowning in depression. I didn't want to get up. I was worried about what was going to happen today. It was Groundhog Day. Every day was the same thing over and over and over. Where are my parents? Why are you keeping me here? Are you going to kill me? I want to kill myself all day, every day, all the time. And I became very, very sick. I didn't want to deal with that, but I knew it wasn't her fault. And so I had to find other ways to keep myself ingrained in trying to find joy again in my body. So when COVID came in and everybody was really shut up, I was already isolated due to dementia. And I was like, yay, everybody's home. I could call somebody and they'll actually be home. And so I started connecting with people, and I said, I got to find this laughter yoga. I need to laugh about something. I'm missing a component in my life. I am so sick. I am so mentally sick. Stress just carries throughout your entire body, and it gets ingrained somatically to the point to where you can be triggered by anything and you're already living in it, right?
Yeah,
Just
that's a
like
great
she was.
illustration.
Yeah, she was instantly triggered all the time too. So we were both suffering, just at different levels. And so I found a teacher, and I started doing it online. I had yet to go to a laughter group or do anything live. Everything was online. But these people that had already been using laughter yoga forever are now doing group Zooms, and I was beginning to learn. I was like, I can do this. This would be great to bring into the classroom. And I met people that were doing it for dementia and doing it with other caregivers and doing it because it helped with their cancer, or doing it because like Rwanda, they were just sick from generational genocide trauma. So it was like there was something to this, and it became magical. And so I practiced silly, dumb games. Then they were dumb. But they weren't so dumb after a while, because then I just accepted I was kind of dumb. And I was okay with that. I could feel a little dumb going up to an inanimate object and laughing with it. It's not responding to me, and it's weird, but it just was releasing. And my body didn't know the difference. It just knew that it was absorbing all these happy hormones, and it remembered something. It remembered what it felt like. And so after a couple of years, I've been practicing for 2 years now. Now it's really easy. You just pick up a paper. Albuquerque Journal. Oh, Mexican truckers block border. Oh. Committed to you and telehealth care. Yeah. Oh. And you open it. Uh-huh. Oh. So it's just after 5 minutes of that, you kind of reset, and then you're ready to go change diapers or something. The fun stuff.
It's great that you did that with the news too. The news so often is so heavy, and what a new way to just go online and see a newspaper and just laugh at
there's nothing funny about the hard stuff. But when your heart is open, you can have compassion for it. That's what's happening. You're not laughing at it because it's funny. You're laughing because you can be angry, where there's a time and place for anger. Anger is not incorrect. There's a time and place for your validated feelings. Something makes you mad. But when you laugh, it's better than holding the retention. When you laugh, you go, oh, yeah, oh, You can give it heart attention instead of fear and anxiety attention. Big difference in the body.
Give it heart attention instead of fear and anxiety.
Yes.
Attention.
Because your fear and anxiety isn't going to change the situation. Only the fear and anxiety is going to change the situation of how your body handles it. And it handles it in traumatic ways. If I take something that's negative in the mail here or anywhere else, and I embody it and give it love and compassion, then how is my body responding it? My love and compassion isn't changing the situation, but it's changing it inside of me. So when stress can cause disease because we hold on to it, and that disease becomes hard and dense, and it's not light. But if you take a problem and you come with it with some compassion, It's lighter, it's not so hard, and it doesn't malform in your body. It transforms in your body and in your mind.
So you help people, and laughter yoga helps people kind of almost change the way they approach the challenges in life.
Yes, yes. And working with dementia is extremely challenging. You have to
Yeah.
validate where they're coming from, but you still need to get the truth done. And the truth is, I need to help you. And so there's moments when they don't know who you are, and it's very scary. And my mother-in-law would hit me. So
Oh my gosh.
if I, if I, let me give you an example. When I started doing laughter yoga, I would bring the laptop into her room. She'd be sitting in the chair, and I would let her know that I was coming in and I was going to sit next to her. I wanted to bring the aura of laughter just so it could be in the atmosphere. She didn't understand that we were laughing for no reason. Like she couldn't get the connection, and thought that, and I don't know exactly what she thought, but I would assume she thought that we were laughing at her. Because if you don't know what the joke is, if you've ever been in a situation where you've walked in and people start laughing and you're like, well, what, is it me? And it feels weird. I think that's how she felt too, sometimes. So for an example, sometimes when laughter would be kind of irritating a little bit for her because she didn't understand, she would hit me. I'd be right next to her and she'd start smacking me. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? You know? So I got her a really long pool noodles, about 7 feet long, really, really long. And before we started laughter class, I would give her wiggle stick. And I said, you just wiggle this when you start feeling upset. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to laugh with my friends. And then if you want to get my attention, you just poke me, okay? You just wiggle at me and I'll be right here for you. And so she'd play with it. And I'd be in the frame of the Zoom, and then all of a sudden you see this, I did this noodle come in and start hit me on the head. And I'd be like, whoa, wait a minute. How you doing, honey? It's okay. We're just laughing. You know, it's all right. You just shake your noodle whenever you want. And then we come in again and poke me because she wanted to just have a release too, right? And so I wouldn't have been able to think of that if I wasn't already feeling some sort of way to look at options. Because I knew what I needed, but I knew what she needed too. She needed a release too. So I gave her something that was safe for both of us so she could let it out on me and I wasn't getting beat up. So that's just one example of how laughter kind of flips the script. Before that, I would just be straight up irritated. Don't hit me. Knock it off, you know? And I would leave her alone because I didn't want to be close to her. But there was options. And the options was, let's be safe. Let's validate each other for both our needs. And then let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. I was okay with that. She was okay with that. High five.
That's such a beautiful example of turning an occasion for trauma into a frankly funny situation. The image of you laughing in her,
and a great memory.
What color was the noodle?
It was blue. Her favorite color.
So the image of her hitting you with the blue noodle is downright funny then.
Yeah. And also during these tours, I've learned with people who are like with cancer. I say, how has laughter helped you with your cancer? And he says, well, you wake up every day wondering if you're going to die that day. But when I started laughing, it took life into a little bit more finite situations where I could just live for an hour. And if I just
mm,
live for an
mm,
hour and find an outlet, like if I was
mm,
laughing or painting or communicating or
mm,
cooking, whatever we do, like we're creative beings, so we just do something. I wasn't thinking about cancer and I wasn't dying. And so those are those little opportunities of distraction. The laughter just gives you space. And
mm,
so helping Louise, my mother-in-law, with her dementia by giving her a tool to use in laughter space because it sounded fun. Somebody was having some kind of fun somewhere. And she'd get it once in a while. Once in a while, she'd chuckle a little bit and then she'd pull back again.
So
But
once in a while, you would get a chuckle out of
yes,
her, huh?
yes, once in a while. And I would practice once or twice a week at that time. So it was
Oh,
doing something. It was doing something, and it helped me a lot because as she declined, the power behind her anxiety decreased, but her needs increased. I had to feed her, I had to diaper her, I had to shower her, and as her
mm,
body declined and she wasn't able to move, she couldn't talk. I had to physically do everything for her. And laughter helped me with that because I was able to take a break. And and it also has a lot to do with breath work. So when we talk about breath work, if that's an option for you today, there's a wonderful connection between laughter and breath work and what the chemistry that's happening in our body as well.
so what I know so much, but I want to hear you talk about it. What? So I'm going to play the devil's advocate. So Tiffany, I mean, we all breathe anyway. We breathe unconsciously. Well, so why is breath work important?
Breath work is important because it regulates our nervous system. That's the big idea right there. We're born amphibious from an amphibious wet womb, and we come into this dry space and we take our first breath. And from that day on, we have a certain amount of breath until we don't breathe anymore. So, yeah, we breathe every day. What's the big deal? Well, depending on how you breathe and how you're regulating your oxygen and your CO2 is everything. Now, most of us are overbreathers. Most of us have a pretty good supply of oxygen, but we have a tendency through habits that create behaviors where we can become a bit unhealthy in our breathing. And I'll explain it to you. What's happening is that the CO2 levels of our body, the CO2 is what opens our vascular system. If you don't have enough CO2 that's regulating and saturating at a specific level in your system, you can suffer the consequences of anxiety, headaches, queasiness, nausea, indigestion, and insomnia, asthma. The list goes on and on and on of being hypocapnic. That's not having the right amount of CO2. And so when we do different breathing exercises, we regulate those two chemicals, those two gases that are pivotal in the way that our system is going to work accurately. We need the oxygen and we have to regulate the CO2 to make sure the oxygen is getting where it's supposed to go. That's its job. And it's not just a byproduct. It is that, but it's not just that. CO2 has a very important job in management with oxygen. So laughter yoga, or laughing in itself, is a breath work, because when you go ha ha ha, take a breath in, ha ha ha,
Ha ha
when
ha.
you just start chuckling, you don't feel that inhale, but it's coming in. It comes in very naturally. That is also called in a yogic term the Kabbalah Bhakti, or the breath of fire, or the shiny skull breath. It's any of those. And basically, if you put your hand right here on your diaphragm's built up to your heart. And when you take a breath in, the diaphragm flattens out a bit. So breathe in and go ha, 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 ha. You feel the diaphragm moving, right?
Yeah.
What's happening with the gases in your body? The CO2 is leveling where it needs to be at a 35-40 saturation, and the oxygen is right where it needs to be. The body begins to parasympathize. The parasympathetic nervous system begins to self-regulate the nervous system. So you come out of the stress of the sympathetic system. You come out of that fight and flight, and some of us are stuck in there due to habits and behaviors and thoughts, stress. That's the hardness in our body. Go, go, go. It calms it down. And that's one of the ways that laughter is so beneficial for us, because it regulates the chemicals in our body, which affect all our major organs. So it's a beautiful thing to take 5 minutes a day and just do your breath of fire. Hey! Very good. And that's all it takes. Bam. How do you feel? You feel a little bit different. And it goes, I'm going to plug in my power here. And it goes along with all the other good stuff too. Memories. How did that sound make you feel? The action of it in your body. And then whoever else was around you, those protons and pheromones are running too.
Nice. Wonderful. So taking care of Louise was intense for a long period, for 7 years, right?
Yes, she passed away February 15th of this year. 7 years to the day she moved in.
Wow.
Yeah.
To the day.
To the day. And that's why I'm out here, because I'm not home caregiving for her anymore.
So let's talk a little about so often when really tough things happen, like caring for someone with challenging needs for 7 years, people tend to get really depleted and just kind of go into a cocoon after that to try and heal. Which is wonderful, but you've taken a different tactic. Instead of going into a cocoon and isolating, you've started adventuring all over the country and all over the world. Can you talk a little bit about how you made that decision to, instead of going like this, to go like this with life? You muted yourself. You're mute. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what were you
I was like this. I was depressed all my life. I was in a cocoon my whole life. Alcohol abuse, sexual abuse, and just being secluded and feeling safe with teaching children instead of dealing with adults. And her disease blessed me. And laughter yoga is a life vest for me, because it brought me out of that cocoon, and it brought freedom and joy into my body to want to live. I was very sick, And I still go through depression. It still happens. And I use laughter as a modality to flip my script. I'm stressed out. It's, well, you're all right. You're all right. You're all right. Ha ha. You're all right. Ha ha. I named my band Ha Ha. That's her name. Ha ha.
So how do you decide after a life of
Yeah.
cocooning to be like this in life now?
I decided because there's something in me. There's a humanitarian in me, and I working with many different souls. I've worked with thousands of babies and little people and their families and their parents, and it's just a normal thing for me to want to be of service. And I began to see doing the laughter yoga that all those adults there's still the inner child in there. There's still that, just like it is in me, that little person just wants to come out and play, but I had no little, 4-year-olds were my best friends and I couldn't call them. That was too creepy, right? so I had to go make some new friends. And so I connect with the ones that are a little bit lighter and want to have fun for just the sake of having some fun. And then I noticed that people had pain like me. And I noticed that the cure for my pain, to transform my pain, was connection. If I didn't have the connection, I got really sad. I need somebody to talk to and interact with and to play with. To sing, I sing all the time. It's just that there's just this thing inside me that wants to come out. And so last summer, I made a desire, and I vowed to myself, that I would go see all my new friends. And then it just began to transform as I began to learn more people's stories of how they're using laughter to transform their pain. I was like, aha, there's something to this. And with COVID confining us to not being able to be together, I said, no, no. There are people that are 80 years old that have brought laughter yoga out here or out to California where I live. And I need to capture their stories live before they die. These people need to have some validation for their life. And COVID helped me with that. COVID validated in me that people are dying and their lives need to be documented for the gifts that they have given to other people. Because as I interview these people, they tell me, oh yeah, this person came up to me and told me they were going to kill themselves that night, but they didn't because they laughed instead. Another person shared with me that this person with PTS was about to had road rage and was going to run somebody off the road and made the decision to laugh instead. And laughing, going, yeah, I'm going to do it. There's something to this thing called laughter that's already in us, that's saving lives. And it's pivotal at this time as everyone goes through this mental wellness challenge to see these stories. Not only are they immortalized for the ones that are going, someday we're going to be the elders and we need to give a gift to our youngers. They're the frontiers. We're the pioneers, but they're the frontiersmen. And they're the ones who are going out into this world to have to make some sense of this. And if there's a tool, a document that they can see and hear and witness to how to handle the stress of life, I want to give it to them. Just like I did in the classroom, I want to give it to them. And that's what I'm doing now. And that's how Louise blessed me. Her journey in with mine has brought this to fruition. We can be the change we want to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, such a good quote from Gandhi. It'd be so powerful.
Yes.
And I love the part of your story. I mean, your story is phenomenal. But then it's not just the United States. It's not just North America for you. what are you creating, and what are you helping create in Rwanda?
Thank you. Thank you for talking about Rwanda. Rwanda has a very special place in my heart. When I lost my job, my son said, "Mom, you need to get a hobby. You need to do something." I was home 24/7, losing my mind. And I remembered my first love was plant life and the medicines that plants have. And so I
Mm.
got back into herbology and I started creating an arnica salve, which I still sell today if you're interested. An arnica salve that I grow the plants and I put them all together and I make this beautiful stuff to connect with people, to make, that was my first connection. And after a while, getting to know the laughter yoga family, I met a family in Rwanda. His name is, there is a clinician there named Ernest who wanted to set up a laughter yoga school. So if you're familiar with what happened in Rwanda in the 90s, they had a massive governmental genocide issue there. And so generationally, it's still, trauma still lives.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So even though the grandchildren, the younger children, they've never went through that war, but they're still experiencing it through their grandparents and their parents in the way
Kind
that
of
they
like
had to deal with that.
Louise was still
Yes.
experiencing World
Yes,
War II.
exactly. Yeah, the genocidal trauma keeps flipping. It keeps coming. And so he set up a school to train other adults to bring it into society. So now I sold some arnica. The proceeds went to Rwanda to help set up the school. And then there were many graduates that went out into the world. And I met Bernadette. And Bernadette is in Kenya and she has about 15 orphans. She runs an orphanage school. And so these are her children. And she does laughter yoga with them when there's, part of their routine because they live in a very stressful environment. Sometimes they don't have any food to eat. And if you could imagine a whole school of children with no food because inflation is so high that they can't afford it. But they're using laughter to just take it, like the man with the cancer, take it away for just a minute. For just a
Mm,
minute, let's
mm,
reset our nervous system
mm,
and come up with different options and ways. Let's be creative with each other to find ways that we can make money to eat or find ways that we can get some food. Life is very
mm,
simple and down to it, and laughter is coming to them to help regulate. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that's starting to happen. It's really, really part of my drive is to transform pain, all kinds of it.
mm. So powerful,
Yeah.
so powerful. So, as part of your mission to record these stories and go on this journey to really help not only our generation but future generations know the healing power of laughter. You're in a competition.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Thank you. I joined a competition called I Am Yoga Warrior, and you can find me on iamyogawarrior.com under Tiffany Caudill. And as I was beginning to put this tour together, I was looking for sponsors, and I made a proposal to ask for $10,000 from any institution that's in the quest of, researching happiness. Um, the it's not easy getting a hold of celebrities. It's challenging to get into an institution all by yourself. So when Yoga Journal popped up on Facebook and its grant, it's offering the winner was $10,000, I said, well, this might be an opportunity here. And one of my mantras is, let's see what happens. So I joined the competition. The competitor will not only get a grant, 25% of that grant will go to the Yoga Warrior Project for veterans to support their yoga practice, as well as a 2-page editorial and photo shoot in Sedona. And guess what I'll be talking about? I think not only more so would the grant push this documentary forward into getting more testimonies, but also it'll be put into a world famous magazine for people to see the power of what laughter can do for us, how it can flip the script of being stressed out to desserts too. And I think everybody's stressed out. Everybody has some sort of trauma from these past 2 years somehow, some way. And so I'm in this competition and it's almost over. There's different groups. And now, as of today, we've gone through more than a group of 15 people, down to 10, down to 5. I've been holding number 1 space in all that, that group, my specific group. I've been holding number 1 thanks to you guys and your votes. But pretty soon in May, there's going to be a quarterfinal, and it's be all the leaders of those groups competing. And I'm really nervous. Because I'm going to be competing with every other number 1 person. So that's when voting for me is going to become really important. And it's not about me. It's about the we. It's about the wellness. There's no illness. If you take the I out of illness and you put a W and an E there, it's the wellness. It's the wellness of us. And as Yogi Ramesh says, it's the LOL to be well. There is something about no I in team. This is a team effort. And if you vote for me and I win, that money, that energy, that editorials will be all about what we are doing together to help each other flip the script. And it would be a wonderful opportunity to continue traveling all the way to the East Coast and into Europe, India, where laughter yoga was designed, Australia and New Zealand, all these continents, Malaysia, Vietnam. There are huge waves of laughing going on. Bali holds the number 1 world record in 2019 for 20,000 laughers all at the same time on the beach. And their goal this year is 40,000 laughers. How can we change the world with laughing? You just open your mouth and you just start flipping the script. If you guys can and share with your friends and just give me and keep me in number 1 spot, I promise this is going to go somewhere, and it's going to be documented, and it's going to be put in the classroom. So our littles will learn that what they were born to do is laugh. It's true medicine. There's power into it. And it can change the world to be what they want it to be.
Wow.
To be what they want it to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We can do that. We're born to do that. It's not too hard. It's challenging because it's subjective, and there's trauma. Okay, because I'm gonna visit my friend in Santa Fe. There's a huge fire going on right now, and being from California, I know all about fires.
Yeah.
And she's been displaced. She doesn't know if she still has her house. And we made plans to meet each other months ago. And I said, do you want me to cancel? She says, no, I need the distraction. I need to laugh with you. I need you to come see me and just be with me so I don't have to worry about whether my house has been burned down or not. She's been evacuated for a week now, living in her car, not even knowing if her house is even still standing. I mean, how traumatic is that?
Yeah.
It's not funny. We're not laughing because something's funny. We're laughing because we need to find that vibration to keep something alive in our body that feels good, to balance that trauma of what that feels like. Anxiety, it just sucks. It sucks and it hurts and it doesn't do anything good. And And there's a saying that Ram Dass says. He says, if you have a dark thought and a dark feeling, and you know that there's nothing you can do much about it, it just sits in there, you love it. And how can you love your dark thought and your hard feelings when you're feeling bad? You just give it a little laugh. You just, I love you. I love you. I love you and all your yuckiness. I love you and all your anxiety. I love you and all your stressed out motives. It's all right here. But come down here because I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Yeah.
I'm just in awe of your journey through life and what you're choosing to do and how you're choosing to ripple good energy out, not only for our generation but for future generation. Thank you.
Yes. Because
And
they're going to
just
be taking care of us.
yeah.
I want to be on their side.
True. Just one more question I ask all my guests. So I talk about imperfect best, and what it means to me is that we have a vision of the best we want for our lives and for the world, and we go for that. But when mistakes come up and imperfections come up, we learn from them and move forward instead of stopping. What does doing your imperfect best mean to you?
Oh, when I first started following you and you were talking about that stuff, it resonated so deeply in me and it really became an interesting topic. I make mistakes all the time. Listening to truth and heart helps me curve the mistakes, but making mistakes are extremely important for giving us the motives of the choices we want to make with them. And sometimes I make mistakes on purpose just to show how someone could learn. So, for example, I'll be in a group, we're learning stuff, and I'll ask a question that makes me look kind of dumb. But I ask it for the validity of the group so that they will learn. I don't come to a group to show off all that I know. Nobody cares. I can just be blah, 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 blah. But somebody cares if someone's wrong a little bit, they notice a little bit more. And they learn from those somebody else's mistakes. So sometimes, and I learned this is child psychology. You're wrong on purpose sometimes. Be imperfect. Because being imperfect is perfectly aligned. It just is. That's why we know so much as humans, because we are always making mistakes. There is no perfect. It doesn't exist. But being imperfect does exist. So does that make it perfect? I don't know. But
Right.
there's something with being not perfect to being the most beautiful, perfect situation.
Powerful. Thank you. Yay for technology. It
Yeah.
helped during the whole interview.
Yeah, it pulled in my phone's really hot.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, and I'm going to close out here, but please stay on the line if you have
Okay.
time for a sec. Dude, this is part of my week. I get to interview amazing people. So it isn't Tiffany's not only her outlook, but how she explains laughter. Isn't that powerful? And it's so accessible to any one of us. I encourage you, if you haven't done laughter yoga, at the very least look it up on YouTube and watch some videos. At the most, find a laughter yoga group in your community and check it out. Yeah, it will be awkward at the beginning, but but new things are always awkward at the beginning. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your time. Next week I interview Michael Padon Padano. And between now and then I'll work somewhat on saying his last name. So with that, hope to see you next week and thank you.